Get started with our presentation on what's in it for me, a focus on relationship branding. And so this presentation will show you how to grow your personal or medical practice marketing brand without being weird. I love that. Who wants to be weird in this day and age? Anyway, many people do, but maybe not for your medical marketing. In today's market, we struggle between the lines of promoting ourselves and our business and being an added resource for those around us. This discussion will help unify all of these concepts to help better build your business, your team, your patients, and your customers. And so the presentation will provide better understanding of relationship branding with other patients, providers, and business associates, creating a better referral network, building long-term profitable business relationships, and how you are perceived by others, how to be better asset to those that you do serve. And this is all going to be done by Jennifer Margray. She is the Director of Professional Relations for Premier Senior Consultants in Winter Park. She's also the President of Medical Professional Networking of Orlando. She serves the medical community through the account management, through marketing, through volunteering for FEMA as a crisis management person, and she's been serving the medical community for over 13 years. She's a graduate of Morningstar School of Ministry with a degree in Biblical Studies and has been a lifelong Central Florida resident. So let's give a big warm welcome to Jennifer Margray.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. I want to thank you, Chuck and MOROF, for allowing me the opportunity to speak to everybody this morning. Whether you're a medical office or you're someone who serves the medical office community, this presentation is for you. And so how do we build our relationships? That's something that everybody, when you go to an interview, when you talk to people, I'm a relationship builder, right? So how do we do that? And how do we do that effectively without just saying, I'm a relationship builder? Meanwhile, getting the numbers that we need or getting the patients that we need, generating revenue, and being authentic in that. So those are some of the things that we want to talk about this morning. I first want to ask, just so I can get to know my crowd a little bit, how many medical offices are represented here today? Okay. How many are the vendors and the marketers that support those medical offices? Okay. So the vision and the purpose of this is to understand what relationship branding is. Who here has heard of relationship branding? Wow, awesome. If you've heard of relationship branding, it's most likely because you know me. I have Googled relationship branding, and I get branding of relationships, but I have not gotten relationship branding. We've heard of professional branding, you've heard of personal branding. This is very similar, but it's honing in on the relationship aspect of that. So the vision and the purpose today is to learn more about emotional intelligence. That's a phrase that's kind of thrown around nowadays. I am not an expert on emotional intelligence. However, emotional intelligence does play a huge part in success. If you've ever hired anybody, what do you look for? You look for someone that, one, you can get along with. You look for someone that has a personality. We can teach people processes. We can teach people software programs, things like that. But teaching emotional intelligence and personality is a much, much harder thing to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and how to execute and build relationships through emotional intelligence. We're also going to talk about identifying workplace emotions. Something that we don't learn a lot about. Nobody really wants to talk about it. Everybody says get your emotions out of it, but we're human beings. We're emotional, correct? So as we do this, this will help you to generate a skill set for your interpersonal alliances, because we all try to do that. We all need those alliances, we need those relationships to help us grow. Create longer lasting affiliations, because in Central Florida, where we're at right now, we do have a high turnover. You can go into an office or you can go to a referral source and there's a new person there. at the window. How many of you have experienced that? The person that you knew that this person, they like this certain cookie, and you keep bringing them cookie, now you walk in and you have it all to start over again. And that's the same with, if you're a primary care office, if you've gotten a lot of referrals from an orthopedic clinic, you walk in and that person, that office manager that you had that great relationship with is no longer there. We have to rebuild all over again. So we're going to talk about building those alliances and developing self-perception. Now this is key because we really want to take a hard look, and this is hard to do, at ourselves and how others perceive us in our work environment, when we do market, when we do face our patients, not only how your patients view you, but how do those in the community view you. So what this is not about is social media, graphic marketing, collateral, promotional material, or cold calling. What I'm talking about today is an additive toward all of this. This is all extremely important. I'm sure MOROF has given many, many talks about this. I've been at one or two of them. It's not about LinkedIn. It's not about all of those things. This is clearly focused on relationship branding. Okay, so it's not to take away from, it's an additive, and that's how I want you to view it. So what's in it for me? So those of you watching this by video or here today, hopefully this will bring some encouragement. Hopefully you'll feel energized in the marketplace when you go out. Sometimes we can get fatigued, but I'm hoping that this will change your perspective a little bit, have understanding with others, and be energized as you go out into the marketplace. Also, being productive through adversity. How many of us know that rejection and things like that can really play a part into our productivity throughout the day? Again, we don't talk a lot about rejection, but we're all humans. If you've marketed or in your office or maybe a patient says something, this is something that we face. So we're going to talk a little bit about overcoming rejection and how to be a better resource. So this presentation will help you become more rounded in personal marketing management, branding, and staying stronger in your marketplace. You guys, everybody has the handouts of this. This will help build your personal marketing intellect in the field and in your practice. This form will help you to strengthen confidence and promote resiliency. Now, resiliency is a key word because resiliency is something that when we do get rejected, how do you bounce back? And we're going to take a look at, are you bouncing back with fear? Do you look weird to those that you encounter on an everyday basis? I had people beg me to title this, Don't Be Weird. But I had some people say, if you title it Don't Be Weird, we're not sure who will come because they don't want to be weird. So if I could title it anything, it would be Don't Be Weird. Don't let them see you sweat. We all know that commercial, right? Never let them see you sweat. So this is what this is about emotionally. Don't get weird, never let them see you sweat. So that's what's in it for you. However, everything is always about what's in it for them. When you meet people, with your patients, with your competitors, with everybody, what's in it for them? If we look at each other as human beings instead of, what can you give me? If you've walked into a meeting like this and you meet someone and you look at their tag and you're like, oh, they can't help me, they're just another promotional person, and you walk away, you're devaluing that person. Correct? We've all had that happen. So I've had it happen to me. I've had people look at my tag. I've even had people who are weird ask for their card back. It's not because they didn't like me. It is bad, and it's weird. And it taught me, look, I don't care. This is the kind of business you run. This is what's going to happen with, you. You're not going to be very productive. What it was is they spent way too much money on that card, and then when they found out that I work with senior citizens and they do something different, then I wasn't an asset to them. So, but however, their productivity eventually will catch up with them. They will be known for that. So always look at what is in it for someone else. Even though they can't help you drive your numbers right away, that's a person. And that person, if you build their business, they will help you build yours. So we're going to take a look at branding, since relationship branding, this is a definition I got off of businessdictionary.com. It's the process involved in creating a unique name and image for a product in the customer's mind, mainly through advertising campaigns with a consistent theme. Branding aims to establish a significant and differentiate presence in the market that attracts and retains local customers. So we all know about branding. I know that when I see green awnings on a popular corner, I don't need to see the name Starbucks. I already know that's a Starbucks. That's branding. They have that particular green. If I see another particular green that's in a shopping plaza, I don't need to see the big P for Publix. I know that that's going to be a Publix. So that's branding. Do you recognize that company by a symbol, a marketing campaign? So do people recognize you? Do people admire you by your relationships, by the company that you keep? So I made this definition up. What is relationship branding? The process involved in creating a unique name and image for yourself within the client's mind, mainly through being known by and through relationships. Also being known for having consistency in those relationships. Relationship branding aims to establish significance and differentiate your presence in the market that attracts and retains loyal partnerships. So, when someone in the marketplace mentions, hey, do you know Jennifer Margray? What's their response? Do they go, oh yeah, she's great, she introduced me to someone, or do they go, whew. What are people saying about you? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Some key words here that I want to point out is consistency in those relationships. Those people that I have relationships with, my clients, those people that I serve in the community, those people that I want to be in business with, because not everybody I want to be in business with. If they do business wrong, I don't really want to be in that business with them. But those that I do want to have relationship with in business, consistency is key. And I tell my clients, hey, if we're doing something wrong, we do anything wrong, I don't want you to get weird. I want you to come to me. I don't want you to cut me off, stop referring because you don't want to have that conflict. I want you to come to me and tell me. I value our relationship enough for you to say, hey, you sent me the wrong client, or I sent you a client and they said you never called them back. I want to know that. Those of you that do know me, we have that kind of relationship. Are you known for someone that can say that your business relationships, do they feel comfortable saying to you, hey, you dropped the ball on this? How many of you would want to know if one of your referral sources dropped the ball? And you would want to know that you did it. Because why? You do not want to lose that referral source. It's because you value that relationship. Okay? So, this is my relationship branding 101. This is how most of us think. I'm Jen, okay? And I just made up some names here. So we have Deanna at the top, and let's say Deanna is a part of an imaging company. And then I got Michelle over here, and let's say Michelle belongs to an orthopedic clinic. And then I got Jason, and let's say Jason sells promotional items. We all have Jasons, Michelle's, and Deanna's in our lives. So how we normally do business is we have a great relationship with Deanna, we have a great relationship with Michelle, we have a great relationship with Jason. But is that relationship branding? They may love me, I may love them. I may send all my MRIs up to Deanna, and anybody who has a foot and ankle problem, I send over to Michelle, and anytime the doctor needs pens, I use Jason. So I have great relationships with all those people. However, this is relationship branding. Does Deanna know Michelle? Deanna can help Michelle build her business. So Jason can help Deanna build her business, and I added a Brittany here, and I'll explain why. Brittany does, let's say Brittany does brain training. So what does brain training have to do with an orthopedic clinic? That's how we think. They don't need to meet. They're on two separate sides of the universe, correct? However, Deanna, their imaging company, does MRIs. Well, it makes sense to introduce Deanna to Brittany because she does brain training and she has physicians that refer to her. Does it make sense to introduce Brittany to Michelle? It does. It does. Even though they may never refer back and forth to one another, there are doctors that will refer to both of them. They can do events together. And Jason, who gives me great deals on my pens, who anytime the doctor says I need something right now, Jason could really benefit Brittany, Michelle, and Deanna. So I'm going to introduce all of these people. And so let's take a practical look at what does that look like. I'm sitting in my office. A lot of times, medical offices, I'll speak to the office manager that is in charge of marketing, in charge of the social media, doing the billing, and doing the HR as well. We all know these medical offices, right? So why would she want to take time out of her day to help out these people? The reason is because these people all talk. Medical offices talk to one another. Vendors, resources, marketers, we all talk to one another. So when Jen, that's me, let's say I'm that office manager. Hey Jason, have you met Michelle? I know she has a ton of collateral that she uses. Here's her card, tell her I told you to call. Because she uses a ton of things and I think you could really help her. I'm going to help Michelle build her business. Why? Because if I'm a primary care, Michelle's going to go, oh, she's helping me build my business. I'm going to help her build hers. Because when my business is built, your business is built. Right? So that is relationship branding 101. The other way to look at that, if you're a marketer, you walk into a networking, you walk into a room like this. How many of you walked into this room and introduced someone to someone else that they didn't know? I want to see some hands. Okay, good, that's healthy. When you walk into a room, you should always look for someone that you know and look for someone else that you know they may not know and introduce them. Because then you become, I call it the hub in the middle of the wheel. And they're going to remember that. So here's a little story on how I didn't grow up, I didn't come out of the crib with knowing this. I was a part of a chamber, and I went to visit a chamber member. You know, that's what you do when you start in business. I worked for a medical device company at the time, and I went to meet with an administrator. And when I was sitting in her office, she said, look, I'm not going to refer to you. I don't do the referrals. That's my social workers. I'm not going to refer to you. However, there is someone I want you to meet. She got on the phone, and she called, let's call her Jennifer, because that's my name. She called Jennifer and said, hey, I have a girl here who's really on it, and I want you to meet her. So they have relationship branding. Jennifer, an owner of a company, stops everything she does and comes there. So now I'm sitting here with this administrator who already said, I'm not going to be the one to refer to you. I could have easily got mad, rejected, and walked out. But she called someone who could refer to me. So now we're sitting there, and I thought, this woman is so clever. Because I owe her now. This is what you do. You get on the phone right away. So Jennifer comes there. We have a talk. And to this day, that was about 5 years ago, to this day, I'm still friends and I have a working relationship with Jennifer. So, and then in that, I've done events with Jennifer, I've done all kinds of things with Jennifer. That same person that called Jennifer, that told me, I'm not going to refer to you because that's just not what I do. I didn't get weird, I didn't feel rejected, blow up, walk out of her office, anything like that. We were at a networking event like this, And she stood up and she goes, you guys know what I do. Let me tell you about what Jennifer does, this Jennifer. And I thought, oh my gosh, she just ransomed my soul. She just bought me, right? Because she could have easily promoted herself, but the whole room knows what she already does. So she promoted me. And I thought, she's so clever. I have to start doing this. This is what I have, and I have made it a point to do this with other people. I will stand in a networking event, and I will say, hey, you know, they do a great job. We referred some people. Especially if I've gone to somewhere for 2 years, they've heard my 30-second elevator speech. But that person who's just started out or who's just new, they're going to remember that. But here's the key. I don't do that with people that are weird. I do with people that I like. Now, we laugh because, you know what? There's some weird people probably in this room. There's some probably weird people watching this video. And we all know who they are. We don't need to point them out. Because people, if you're weird, I am not going to refer you to Connie. Because I don't want Connie to go, why in the world does she send me a quack? Because relationship branding reflects on me. Now, let's say I wasn't aware that, we'll say Mike was a quack. I'd want Connie to call me and say, Jen, thanks for referring, but don't ever send Mike to anybody else. Let me tell you what he offered me cash in my office if I would give him, you know, something illegal, okay? So know who you're doing this with, but once you've built these relationships, help other people build their business. So that is, in a nutshell, relationship branding. Want to know what you are known for. So what are you known for in the community? When people think of you, do they know you for dropping the ball? Do they know you as only a taker? That you know, that a lot of people sponsor your events, but you never give back to the community? Do they know you for bad-mouthing your competition? That makes people uncomfortable. I actually invited my competition here. I want to be comfortable with my competition, because if I'm not, I'm weird. So there are people in here that refer to me, and there's people in here that would also refer to my competition. They probably do a one-off, or, you know, well, this month they'll do this and this, right? I'm not talking about anything strange, we do that. But if I'm in a room with someone who's a referral source, and they use my competition as well, so because some of you use one local blood lab, and you may use another lab for certain things, correct? So if those two labs get together, those two reps get together in an event that I'm having, I wouldn't want them to be weird. I don't want to be weird as the referral source. So when I'm around my competition, I don't make it weird. I don't act like they're the devil. We all have jobs. We all have, you know, families. We all, you know, sometimes I do definitely want to differentiate myself from my competition, but that's different than demonizing my competition or making it weird for my referral source. Everybody understand what I'm talking about with that? Because nobody wants to be around weird people. And eventually, they will ostracize you. Are you known for being negative? Every time somebody sees you, the Central Florida climate is always horrible, everything's horrible, that meeting is horrible. Now, I am not, I'll just say right now, here's a disclaimer, I'm not perfect. I have not mastered everything in my life, but I'm trying. We're all trying to do the right things, right? So what are you known for in your networking community? Relationship branding is accomplished through having a good sense of emotional intelligence. Some of it can be learned. Some people cannot learn it. I'm just gonna be honest. We know. So, what is emotional intelligence to you? Anybody here have a definition of what emotional intelligence is? A thought? Connie?
I'd say it's understanding, tapping into the emotions, but controlling them as you work through a situation.
So she said, understanding, controlling your emotions as you work through a situation. I think that's a great definition. Ability to read the room. That's great. If you all were sitting here with your heads down, texting like Eric is right now, I'm going to make a joke to get you see, the ability to read a room. You know, we are not in middle school dance time where you stand along the wall. This is our profession. We are in the people profession. Read people. Be aware of your surroundings. Okay, so Dan Goleman, in his 1996 book of the same name called Emotional Intelligence, this is his definition of emotional intelligence. It's the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. I'll be honest, I was with him up until empathetically, because that is empathizing. This is work, Buttercup. Suck it up. Why are we empathizing with anybody? That's what we've been told by corporate. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Don't empathize. But emotionally, being emotionally intelligent has a tremendous amount to read someone where they're at for that day. If I go to, let's say I'm cold calling, I go to an office, and the gatekeeper is what we call the person at the window. I need to be able to read that they're having a bad day, not to ask for a referral. I need to know why they're having a bad day, if they have time for that. Read if they're busy, if they're sitting there looking at Facebook, because they do that a lot. Notice if they're not giving you eye contact, read it for what it is. Don't be weird. Don't slam their door. Don't knock on their window. Receptionists hate when you knock on their window, by the way. Don't ever do that. So it's being empathetic toward those around you and understanding their situations, because we're all human beings. Recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions. Recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. So, you have this slide, and for time's sake, I'm not going to read all of it, but this is nothing new. Aristotle, I think it was 400 years ago, he talked about the appropriateness of emotions and its expression. The question is, how can we bring intelligence to our emotions and civility to our streets, interactions, and caring for a communal life? So, not that we have to become everybody's counselor, not that we have to get into everybody's business or tell everybody our business. It's reading that person. You know, maybe someone got a flat tire on the way here. I saw 4 people on I-4 with flat tires. I don't know what happened last night during the Ultimate Project, but something happened. Maybe something, maybe they have a sick child. Don't always make it about you if you're rejected in the workplace. Just because maybe someone, you have a good relationship with someone and they walk past you in a room, don't vow to never talk to that person again. We know these people. Have empathy. Be appropriate. Okay, so right now we're going to talk about feelings, emotions, feeling threatened, making it weird, inappropriate reactions, and keeping it real, which are appropriate responses. So, workplace emotions and feelings. Tell me some emotions that we may have, whether it's in the workplace or your personal life. Just holler them out. Frustration. Fear. That's a good one. Irritability.
Jealousy.
Jealousy. Happy. It's positive, Matt. Stress. Panic. Excited. Desperate.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Some of you didn't say anything.
Love.
The emotions are we are not, when we hit the door, we kind of try to turn those off. So when you're sitting here and you're listening to this, you're watching, this is not a time to be emotional, but we are people with emotions. We all, trekked through the traffic to get here. We all may have a meeting that we're not looking forward to later on today. So we are people with emotions. You may be getting married this weekend and you're really excited and you can't wait for this to be over. Okay? So it's reading your own emotions as well. Where am I at? What am I reflecting to those around me? Am I distant? Am I standoffish with the people that refer to me? Are emotions right or wrong? No, they're just emotions. It's what you do with them. Do emotions and feelings belong in the field or the workplace? Yes. I saw people scared to say yes. They do. They do. I had a lunch with a client yesterday, and I did a partnership lunch with another company, and the other company couldn't wait to get out of there. They left. And then I spent an hour after everybody left. Now, not everybody has an hour. With my referral source, and she was telling me about her mother-in-law who has dementia and had forgotten her name for many months and just remembered it the other day and how she felt. That's emotional. I have a connection. Now, I'm authentic. I'm not just sitting there taking, oh, now I know, something on this woman who's my referral source. But I can empathize and be authentic with her. Hey, how's your mother-in-law doing? I know where she's, I know which home she lives in. She's in a great community. So are you taking the time to understand those people? Hey, same person, we just got funding for another year. I didn't know you needed funding. I didn't know you relied on grants. How can I help you keep your job next year? What can I didn't know that. I spent time. This is people's livelihoods. She was worried, is she going to get a grant? I'm not sitting there going, hey, do you have a referral for me? Do you have a referral for me? I did a consult with someone in HR on marketing, and the HR person who's never been in the field said you should ask for a referral on the first visit. How many of you offices or referral givers want that person to ask you for a referral on the first visit? Corporates say you should be asking for referrals on the first. Now, there's a way to do that. If you have anybody, let us know, this, that, and the other thing. I'll tell you a story. There was a social worker when I did medical devices, and she was mean to everybody. Her surrounding people was about 5 people. She cared to do business with no one else. She kicked people out of her office. She wouldn't even take brochures. She was just mean. She was weird. Well, guess what? She's one of us now. She's a marketer. Guess how many people are excited to give her business? Nobody. So we all change jobs. We all do things. Always keep that in mind. So why are we talking about feelings? Anybody here ever felt threatened when they walked into a room? Maybe today you felt threatened. Big crowd, maybe you've never been here, you don't know. Maybe your competition's here. Maybe you're here and there's 5 other people that do what you do. That can feel a little threatening, right? What are some instances in the workplace that we can feel threatened about? Hiring, that's a good one. Hiring new people, someone added to our group now, our team. What else is threatening in the workplace? Difficult conversations. That is very threatening. Nobody really wants to do that. Confrontation is not necessarily a bad word if it's done in a healthy way. Changing regulations. Billing. Are we going to get paid? I don't need to mention ICD-10 to anybody. We all know what that was. That was threatening people's livelihoods across the board if you didn't bill correctly, right? Where do we feel threatened? We feel threatened in the workplace. So what are some of our physiological responses when we feel threatened? Shut down, fight, defensive. Oh, that's a good one. Defensive. That's more of our reaction. We sweat. Our face gets red. You ever talk to someone, all of a sudden their neck starts getting red, and you're like, they feel threatened by me. I need to not be over zealous with them. Yeah. They might break out in hives. I don't know. So when you feel threatened, you're putting that off. And if you're a good relationship person, you're going to start you pick up on that. And you may not go, hey, they're weird, in your mind. You may go, what's wrong with me? Why are they acting weird? Right? When they may feel threatened. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? So we have biological responses to feeling threatened. So when we feel threatened and we start having those biological or emotional responses, this is an opportunity where it gets weird. So remember I told you the story about the lady who pretty much ransomed my soul because she got on the phone and invited someone that were now lifelong friends? She made it weird. In the same meeting, even though she ransomed my soul and I owe her for so much because she taught me a lot, she made it weird because then she said this, we're a close-knit community, and if you do us wrong, we'll ostracize you. Yeah, no, I am not kidding. I did not make it up. This is not an anecdotal make-up story. Guess what? I'm not calling you. I don't know. I'm not sure what healthcare syndicate you're in, but I don't want to be any part of that. So she made it weird, did a great thing, but then make it weird. I'm sure we all have stories about people making it weird. Someone's nervous and they get up to they're supposed to do a 10-second, 30-second elevator speech, and all of a sudden they take 5 minutes and they're doing jumping jacks and downing the room and making it weird for other people. So I'm not saying you empathize. You may want to say you need Zoloft or something like that. So here's how to not make it weird for yourself, because we have no control over others. Just some 3 points to remember. Don't take it personally. This is where empathy comes in. If you get rejected by an office or a referral source or a patient or someone that's in your office, don't take it personally. You have no idea what happened to them before they walked into your office. You have no idea what they're going through in their personal life, nor do you really need to press to ask that. But don't take it personally. If they have a reputation of that, just don't do business with them. You don't have to talk bad about them. You don't have to involve them into the healthcare syndicate world. That obviously there's one that's there. And you can do that by having empathy for the other person. Just sympathize. Man, this is not, there's some people in here, if I snapped at them, they would seriously say, what is wrong with you? That's not normally you. So when you have relationships, they should know that that's not normally you. Have empathy, have some room there. Not that we deal with a lot of rejection as marketers, those that are marketers in the room. You deal with a lot of rejection. You go to call after call, and especially in healthcare. And here's the thing, it's fatigue. The offices are fatigued of marketers. If you sit in one of those waiting rooms, they have marketer after marketer after marketer after marketer, and they're all bringing cookies, and it's ridiculous. So they're fatigued of just our profession. Have empathy for that. They're trying to get their work done. Do not be passive aggressive, and watch out for people who are passive aggressive. Being passive aggressive are those, the people that say bless your heart, but they really are just wanting to stab you when they say that, right? We know those people. And again, don't take it personally. I'll tell on myself a little story about how I made it weird. This is how I know to talk about these things. I made it weird. This is when I first started in the company that I'm with now. And we are experts in senior living. And I needed referrals. And I went to a small, closed networking group. And I leaned over to the head of the networking group, who also ran one of the largest buildings in Orlando. And I said, listen, if you send your referrals to so-and-so, blah, 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 I downed them, did exactly what I told you not to do. And then I said to her, so if you send them to me, this is what will happen, and she looked over at me and she said, this is not the place for this. She rebuked me. It's the best thing she's ever done. We're friends. She called me last night. I have her personal cell. We're friends. And so I went home that night and I'm like, I made it weird. I got scared that I wasn't getting referrals, and I just made it weird for that person. So I noticed what she ordered at the bar, the drink, and I bought the biggest bottle of that liquor which was a very nice bottle. And I went to her and I said, look, I want to apologize that I got a little scared and I made it weird. And we're good. And she refers to us. I was not too big, I just addressed it. Sometimes we just didn't need to address when we make a mistake. But at the same time, that was a great lesson for me to learn. Because now I can stand up here and say, I've been the weird one. And you know what? She had empathy for me because she accepted my apology. She could have said, I don't want to ever see you. Who knows what she could have done. So everybody's staring at me. So I'm not perfect. All right, keeping it real. So this is how we keep it real. We perceive where others are at. If someone's having a busy day, don't press them for referrals. From a medical office, how can you perceive others' emotions in your realm if you're at a medical office? Anybody? Some feedback? What is a situation that you might encounter in a medical office that would say, I need to read this a little bit? Anybody have an example? I don't work in a medical office, so I'm kind of looking for some help for those that are on the video. Busy waiting room. If you come into a busy waiting room, you're reading those patients nonverbal. They're all sitting there huffing and puffing. They all, like all of a sudden they have COPD because they're waiting for an hour. Their facial expressions, their tone of voice. We need to read people and be empathetic toward that. It's going to tell you something, that nonverbal communication. Understanding emotions, empathy, point of view, we've talked a lot about that. Manage your own emotions in a situation. Do not mirror their crazy. Do not mirror when they make it weird. If they elevate their voice, don't elevate with them. I had someone very wise who was getting being blasted by an office, and they told me this story, and they just had to tell the office, I didn't wake up this morning trying to make your life a living hell. So let's just deal with this. Don't aggravate the situation by mirroring their emotion, their emotional outrage. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Using emotions, taking cues, having open body language, being apathetic toward people. When someone's telling you a story, making eye contact, not checking the phone, not asking them for a referral if they're telling you a story about their kids. So using emotions appropriately. I'm not a body language expert, but everybody should watch a video. It's on YouTube. There's all kinds of things on body languages. That's, if you stand there at a networking group, you stand there like, who's going to approach you? You sit there and you never make eye contact with people, or someone goes to introduce yourself and they take their card back from you. But listen, I could have gotten really rejected and said, I hate the medical field, I'm not doing it anymore. But I've taken these things and I've turned them into positives of what not to do and how do people perceive me. Because a lot of things that happen to us, if you turn it into, I don't want to make this mistake, that's going to help you to be have more productivity, have better enhanced relationships, and whether you stay in your work environment now or go somewhere else, you will take those relationships with you. And that's what it's all about. I have a relationship with companies, but I have more of a relationship with those who work at the company, because that is what the company is those employees, correct? If those employees that I trust leave, if that doctor that I trust leaves, you could still name the practice the same thing. I'm most likely going to follow the physician, right? So it's about a quarter till. We're going to open it up for some questions. Anybody have any questions or some comments, or maybe a story?
And please wait for the microphone so that way we can get it all on video. Questions? Okay, we'll take it.
So this is just a quick story about relationship branding, but Jen and I met probably about 3.5 years ago when I was new to the market here. Someone, I can't even remember who, suggested that I reach out to her through her medical professional networking group. And so we do imaging, and at the time, I was looking for networking to get involved with offices, but not so much thinking about imaging through Jen, but more imaging in offices. And we had a good experience, we had a good conversation, and through the course of literally about a year and a half, we would look at each other after different events and say, I don't know where this is going, but it feels right, it feels good, and it's positive, and we would have really good conversations, but we never had an opportunity to do anything together as far as true business because we didn't have a service offering that would work with what she does. And you fast forward about a year and a half, later from when we met, CDI came out with a product, doesn't matter what the product is, but it gave us an opportunity to do true business. So we didn't know that product was coming, we didn't know where it led, but it deepened the relationship, even further. So I'm an advocate of Jen Margray. I always say I've got 5 or 6 people that they say come to an event, and I really don't pay attention to the detail. I've called her several times and said, I'm on my way, what is this all about? Because there's such a deep trust in knowing that what she touches turns to gold. So anyway, that's my story.
Thanks, Dan. I want to make a comment on that. I send out a ton of, we all do constant contact. But when someone's having an event, whether it's my event or not, if it's going to benefit one of my friends, my relationships, I'll send it to them and say, look, this is in your area, this is something that you need to be a part of. And sometimes people think it's my event, but I'm helping the person whose event it is, but I'm also thinking of that person that needs that relationship. So thank you for that story. And lift other people, lift their business up. Whether you're going to attend or not, send it out. And I will say to people, this is something you definitely need to go to. You need to meet these people. Anybody else with a question?
Questions? We'll get to you, Connie, after Dan.
Hi there, Jennifer. Great job. Thank you so much. I wanted to refer to one of our earlier discussions. We had a panel of 4 people. I was on the panel to discuss why doctors should join or why practices should join organizations. And we were seen previously as competitors. And the term came up that I read a document from the societies, the medical societies, and they had a convention. So they talked about cooperation, which of course is kind of soft, like we're talking here, emotional, and then competition. And then they came up with the term cooperation. There's no reason why you shouldn't. So can you touch on that a little bit more for where it actually evolves to be better for everybody?
Okay, that's actually a really great question. So in my office, we have elder law attorneys. And there's 1,000 elder law attorneys. But there are some people that my elder law attorneys cannot help. So they'll refer to another elder law attorney. They have great relationships. There's some physicians that they may do this, but you know what? I'm thinking of the patient. You'd be better served if you went over to Dr. Smith. So when you aren't feeling threatened by competition, you can actually serve your patients better. Because here's the thing, we're not all experts in everything. If there's a reason, usually the same guy that owns one gas station will own the gas station across the street. And you say, why would you do that? That's competition. No, I'm known for the gas station. This is the corner to get gas. Whether you get it from there or get it from here, this is where you get gas from. So there's something in that where you can better, we call it a network. It's a net that works, right? And so, Anne Marie has a senior living building, and not everybody, she does a great job filling it, but maybe not all people would be perfect in that community. So what's she going to do? She's going to get on the phone with a community that may be down the street that can better serve that person and say, you may be better at this location. Because what's going to happen is that location is going to say, this person doesn't really fit into our wheelhouse. They would not be happy here. We're going to, hey, Anne-Marie, do you have room for this, or does this fit into what you have a need for? So in the senior living communities, we work very well together. There's people that we can't help, that we want to get them help. You have patients that just because, if you ghost called your own office and asked that receptionist, I'm looking for such and such, oh, well, we just don't do that. Have a nice day, bye. you lost a referral source. You know how you lost a referral source? Because if that person who answered the phone said, you know, we don't do that, but Dr. Smith, let me give you his number, tell him that we said to call. And then you said, hey, we were just talking to Nancy on the phone, we sent her over there, I hope she's a good fit for you, let us know if she's not. That's it, that's synergy. That's making your competition or even other people work with you, because you want to be known as the go-to. I don't do medical supplies anymore. I had a doctor call me from Titusville asking where I gets a certain medical device. I said, I don't know, but I know people who do. So I'm going to call them, and then I'll have them call you. Being known, you know, don't have your patients calling multiple places. You want them to be calling you for resources. Does that answer? Thank you.
Thank you. Connie?
Relationship branding takes time. So often you'll do a one-on-one with somebody, and you get the feeling that they're still stuck in that what's in it for me. So if you don't give them a referral immediately, they're off to the next person. And so I love that when you're focused on what's in it for you, it might take a year and a half before you really identify that. But having said that, we all have limited time. Do you have any best practices on when to know when you are really emotionally connecting and who to focus on for those connections?
That is a great question. Thank you so much. So, because you can get really busy having relationships, and your productivity will go down. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. So when I meet with people, I will tell them, listen, I'm not going to send very many people to you because, one, I already have that covered, or I just don't refer a lot to that. But I tell you what, who do you need to meet? Is there someone I can introduce you to? Have you been to this? Have you been to MOROF? Have you been to, and you know what I'll do right then and there? And there's tons of people in the room. I'll send that contact to that person. I can't help you right now. I can't really meet with you in the future. We're not going to have much going on. But I will text you some invites to some things that I'm going to. I want to stay in touch. But here's some people that can help you build your business. So now, when I do see that person out and about, I may not have seen them for 2 months, but they're like, hey, thank you for sending me so-and-so because that really generated this, and then I met so-and-so. And now there's good feelings there. It wasn't, we had coffee, we really connected, and then I never heard from you. Just address it right off the bat. You know, I have this need filled. I don't think that, you know, we're going to be doing a lot in the future, but here's who can help you, and this is how I can help you. And you're not taking that person and devaluing them just to their job. You want to help them build their business. And they'll remember you no matter what they go on to do. So that's a great question. Just be direct. Have good boundaries. Have really good boundaries. I tell people, and I've told people, there's a lot of people sitting in this room, I'm horrible at returning email. Because I sometimes get involved in relationships. I'm not looking at my phone when I am with someone. And so I just tell people out flat, I'm really bad at returning email. If you want to get a hold of me, you got to text me. And I have admins that do Facebook and all of that stuff for me because that's not my wheelhouse. So know your own limitations, stick with that, have good boundaries, be firm, but don't get weird about it.
Hey, thank you, Jennifer, for addressing the room about this great topic. You've sent me in contact before, and it's worked out, you know, firsthand. When you come across someone who is being weird, how do you handle this situation? Like, what's your rebuttal? How do you notice it and flip it?
That's great. That's good. Without ostracizing someone in particular, so I had a video, and I am auto-visually challenged. It's not. I'm not a computer person. That talked about that, where we ostracize people because you don't really. If you're ostracizing someone who's weird, their weirdness will get worse. Unfortunately, we all care about people. I mean, we're all in healthcare, right? So you set very strong boundaries, and you limit on who you introduce them to. You're nice to them in the room. You're pleasant. You may not, send them anybody, but you don't ostracize them because those people tend to have big mouths. And then they'll go around and tell other people something that's maybe not true because they are weird. I mean, this is just reality that we live in. So I don't ostracize them. I will say hi to them. I still will make eye contact with them because they're people and they're humans, and I don't know what's happening in their life or what has happened to them in their past that made them weird. So have empathy. You don't have to, we're not marrying everybody, you know, but have empathy, be nice, introduce them to someone else, get them out of the area. Hey, you know who you need to talk to? And push them off on someone else. Passive aggressive, that's right, Dan. That's a great question. Thanks a lot. These are some of the things that we do want to be known for. You want to be known as someone that refers to other people. Even when you can't directly refer to them, how can you help them build their business? You want to be known as a giver, not a taker. You want to be known for being positive, moving forward, and you want to be known as someone who helps others build their business. You know, marketing together, marketing in groups, doing functions. For instance, Deanna and I think we met about 3 years ago, and we've never referred to one another because we just don't have that capability, right? You know, but we're getting ready to have one of the biggest events that my company's ever had with their company, and it's made relationships with our company that I would have never gotten, and the same with her. She's gotten relationships, and so we just kind of stuck it out. So don't treat people just because they can't give to you. Don't devalue them, if you could take that away today. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.
Big round of applause.